Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. So just to come up to speed, so remember, Musa alayhi salam met Fir'aun and all his magicians, all his sorcerers at an appointed time, and then they threw their sticks and their strings, and 30,000 of them, according to some riwayat, 30, so each one, 30,000 persons threw their sticks and they threw their stars, and the result of that, the whole field was filled up with huge serpents. Allah Ta'ala just revealed to Musa alayhi salam that you throw your stick now, and his stick turned into a real serpent. Remember, the Quran is quite clear and emphatic that theirs was just what? Theirs was illusions, it wasn't real. And this here was real. It went and swallowed and devoured every single one of them. And then the sorcerers were, or the magicians, were totally impressed. They knew that this is not sorcery, this is something which is divine. And then they fell prostrate in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showing and acknowledging that this wasn't an ordinary thing, this was something divine, right? And then they said, we believe آمنا برب موسى وهارون, right? قالوا آمنا برب العالمين. We believe in the Lord of the worlds, Rabbi Musa wa Harun, the Lord of Musa and Harun alayhi salam. So the next verse, read the next verse, Luqman. Yeah. So Fir'aun was now shocked that he gathered all these people to counter Musa alayhi salam. But in the meantime, they have been فَغُلِبُوا. They have been countered. They have been vanquished. And he thought he's the greatest. قال فرعون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قال فرعون آمنت بي قبل أن آذن لكم. Fir'aun said, are you believing in Musa? Are you accepting his message? قبل أن آذن لكم, before I permit you. إن هذا لمكرم, that very, this is a plot that you have hatched. In other words, you are conspiring on Musa alayhi salam, لِتُخْرِجُوا مِنْهَا, so that you may remove from it its people. فَسَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ, soon you will know. In other words, seems like you are in cahoots. You are in cahoots with Musa alayhi salam, and you people are working together to remove me. You want to remove. So the foregoing verses had a detailed account of the contest between Prophet Musa alayhi salam and the sorcerers, and that after they defeat the sorcerers, declared their faith in Allah Ta'ala. Some historical, remember when they say historical, they speak about Israeli riwayat. Remember, Israeli riwayat are those riwayat which the Sahaba Ikram may be heard from Christian or Jew scholars. So la nusaddiqu wa la nukadhibu. If it conforms with what our Shariah have accepted, if it goes against our Shariah, we reject it. If our Shariah is silent upon it, we may narrate it without saying it's true, without saying it's false, but we just narrate it for information purposes. So most of these, like, you get these stories that the Majlis write, and the Majlis got the whole book about Musa alayhi salam. I think you saw it. Ajib things and all that stuff. Most of those stuff are Israeli riwayat. Yes, that which is emphatically from the Quran, we accept it. That which is emphatically from the Hadith, we accept it. But most of it, 90% of it, are the Israeli riwayat. And Israeli riwayat, you people have done this in your Usul al-Hadith, nah? That it is from the Jewish scholars or the Christian scholars. So as I told you, if it is 100% in conformity with the Quran and Sunnah, we accept it. If it goes against the Quran or the principle of the Quran and Sunnah, like the Prophet done something wrong, we reject it. And if it is the Quran, so it's silent upon it, لا نصدقه ولا نكذبه. We don't say it's 100% true, and neither says lies. It could be part of the interpolations there, or it could be part of the truth that still remained, right, from the Baqarah. So let me say historical. In English, you say historical relations, in like how we say in technical terminology, like the people in hadith terms, you say Israeli riwayat. What you call? So some historical reports say that subsequent to the declaration of faith, 600,000 more people followed suit and declares their belief in Allah. In other words, from the Coptics, the non-Muslims, they'd come to see the spectacle, they'd come to see the contest. There's 600,000 people. Before this open contest, only two individuals believe in Allah. Now, a great army of people became Muslims. It was obviously an embarrassing situation for the Pharaoh. Like a clever politician, he managed to conceal his state of mind before the people and change the situation by putting the blame of conspiracy and rebellion on the sorcerers. So, manipulation, when you make a mistake, when you done something wrong, when the shortcoming is on your behalf, now you try to blame somebody else. You try to blame somebody else. So here clearly Fir'aun was clearly defeated, right? His magicians could not nullify. His magicians could not counter what Musa listened. So what he said, no, 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 there's a plot. You had conspired with his magicians, right? He claimed they had joined hands with Musa and Harun in order to create disorder in the country. Then he said to the sorcerers, you have believed in him before I permit. That's, I'm the king. I'm in charge here. Who said you can do this? Like maybe sometimes you're a boss, you got some people working for you, your employer, and now you try to do, some people maybe don't work for you, or now you expect your employees, they must work in your interest. But all of a sudden they are sympathetic to the opposition. I brought you here to support me to further my interest, but you are furthering these people's interest. You have believed in before I permit you. That was a threat to the sorcerers on one hand, and on one hand, and on the other hand, he tried to convince these people that the sorcerers made a hasty decision in accepting their fate and fell prey to the trap of Musa alayhi salam and Harun. So by making the statement, he was threatening his people and he was alluding to the fact that, look, they made a mistake. Otherwise, you would have also believed in him. In case Musa alayhi salam provide truth for his. Look, you're in a hurry. If the things are presented properly, etc., we'll also believe. It was a clever design of Pharaoh. He tried to keep his people. He tried to keep his people stay in their former ignorance and make them believe that the contest was pre-plotted between Musa alayhi salam and the sorcerers. So remember, as long as he kept them in ignorance, as long as he kept them unaware of the true God of Allah, he could claim he is in charge, he could manipulate them, he could use them. But the day they realize who the true creator is and through who the true servitude is owed, then it was game over. That's why when the Sahaba Ikram came, what they said, لنخرج العباد من عبادة العباد إلى عبادة رب العباد. We came to remove you people. When Sahaba Ikram conquered the lands, we came to remove you from the servitude of man, right? To take you into the servitude to ibadati Rabbil Ibad, to the Lord of man. In other words, the same thing. Yeah. So long as they worship him, they thought he's the be all and the end all. He could manipulate them, he could use them for his own agendas. But the day they realized who the true Rabb is, who the true allegiance lies with, it was game over. Hence, he was not happy about this. So it was a clever sign of the Pharaoh. He tried to keep his people stay in their former ignorance and make people believe that the contest was pre-plotted between the Prophet Musa alayhi salam and the sorcerers. He cleverly twisted the fact that the miracle of Musa and the open conversion of the sorcerers to the true faith was purely to expose the ignorance and falsehood of the Pharaoh. So he said, he cleverly twisted the fact that the miracle of Musa and the open conversion of the sources to the true faith was purely to expose the ignorant fall of the Pharaoh. So he said that, look, this of the sorcerers accepting Musa alayhi salam, it was a plot to like just to unseat him, etc. Purely to expose ignorance and false right. He turned it into a political issue by saying, so that you may expel its people from here. So you done this here so that you can dislodge the Coptics, etc. He wanted to make his people believe that they planned our matter to gain power over the country and expel the people from there. Right? So that this is what you say. When he didn't have answers, he resorted to conspiracy theories. What he converted to? No, this is just a plot, etc., etc. Okay, read the Arabic. Okay, wait. I see there's still another portion there that we have to do before we come to the Arabic. Okay, read the next verse there. لأقطعن Right, so now he threatens them. Bismillah ar-Rahman. لأقطعن أيديكم وأرجلكم من خلاف ثم لأصلبنكم أجمعين. I shall certainly cut apart your hands and your legs from opposite sides. Right arm, left leg, or left arm, right leg. After making all these strategic statements, so first he tried to say, shift the blame and say, no, this is just a plot. This is an evil plot. But when he saw this was not happening, or it was not working, now what happened? He resorted to threat of violence. After making all these strategic statements, he threatened the sorcerers first with an indefinite remark saying, now you shall know your end. Further specifying the threat, he said, لأقطعن أيديكم وأرجلكم. I shall surely cut your hands and legs from the opposite sides. Then I shall crucify, صلب يصلب. I shall crucify you all together. By cutting from the opposite sides, he meant the right hand and the left foot, so they are made completely disabled and invalid. So this shows you that in previous times, that what you say crucifixion was a means of punishing people. That is why also when Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, what we say Jesus, he spoke out against the Romans. He spoke about the corruption in the monasteries at that time, and he spoke about the false deities, etc. And when they became annoyed with him, what he done? They had him crucified, right? Right, read next one. قالوا إنا إلى ربنا منقلبون. They said, we are surely to return to our Lord. So Pharaoh made all the efforts, Pharaoh made all the efforts that he could to control his people. The belief in Allah or Iman is called by the Quran is a great power. So I told you, as long as people don't believe in Allah, they don't believe in the divinity of Allah Ta'ala, they can be controlled, they can be manipulated. But once they know who the true Rabb is, and once they know who the true deity is, and once they know who our allegiance is supposed to be for, then they cannot be manipulated and controlled. That is why Fir'aun wants to conceal from them the truth. That is right. When it finds, see, when the tawheed, even if you are a worker, you're working for somebody, but you don't have iman, you don't have faith in Allah Ta'ala, your boss can threaten you, you don't go to Jummah, you stay here, you work here, you're gonna lose your job. You don't go for holiday. You don't wear like this. But when you got the true faith that Allah Ta'ala is in control, Allah Ta'ala is Razik, Allah Ta'ala is Malik, and Allah Ta'ala is the one that does. You know that Allah Ta'ala is the one that does. It's not your boss that is doing. وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Then your boss, he can't manipulate you, he can't control you. So the whole idea is to keep the masses away from that. Keep them and enslave them. Keep them away from the true tawheed and enslave them. So that's what his Fir'aun's plot was. So when it finds way into one's heart, one finds himself as powerful as to face the whole world, and all the forces gathered together against him. So when you have that tawheed in your heart, the true tawheed, then you are ready to face any challenge. Only a few hours to see. Only a few hours ago, the sorcerers were the worshippers of Pharaoh. They thought Pharaoh was everything. They thought Pharaoh was everything. But having faith in Allah Ta'ala, they demonstrate such a great power and courage that in response to all the threats to their lives by the Pharaoh, they only said with perfect satisfaction. So now, 1 minute they were slaves of Pharaoh. 1 minute they were slaves of Pharaoh. They were ready to do Pharaoh's bidding. They were ready to further his agenda. But once the nur of Iman, once the reality of Iman came into that, what they said, Inna ila Rabbina munqalibun. That we don't worry what you say. You can threaten us as much, but we know that you are not the Lord. The Lord of Musa is the true Lord. And we know that that's where we're going to. You kill us. The sorcerer were fully aware of the Pharaoh's power and authority over them. They did not say that Pharaoh will not be able to kill them because of the new faith. The answer was to suggest that the whole life of the slave world has no value in their eyes. So when the more you have faith, the more the reality of Allah comes into your life, the more reality of the akhirah that comes into your life, right? The more the value of the dunya increases. So the more you have, the more the greatness of the dunya is in your heart. The more the greatness of the wealth of the dunya is in your heart, the lesser the greatness of Allah Ta'ala. But the more the greatness of Allah Ta'ala settles in your heart, then the greatness of the dunya comes out of your heart. So their satisfaction was due to the fact that they were sure of meeting the Lord of the world after passing away from this world. There they shall get an everlasting life of peace and comfort. Another interpretation of the answer is that though the Pharaoh had all the power to finish their life, but soon he will be presented before the Lord of the worlds, where he shall be taken to account for his despotism. In other words, the following statement is also included in the answer of the sources. فاقض ما أنت قاض إنما تقضي هذه الحياة الدنيا. Make whatever decision you want to, but your decision will only be restricted to this dunya. Whatever you do, it will only happen in this dunya. But remember, فاقض ما أنت قاض إنما تقضي هذه الحياة الدنيا. You can make a decision in this dunya, but remember, tomorrow we're going to stand in front of Allah. وَإِنَّا إِلَىٰ رَبِّنَا لَمُنْقَلِبُونَ. And there, that will be the place of ultimate justice. We just done, remember, we done that at the full sirat. فَاقْتَصَّ بِهِ الْمَظَالِمُ. What was it words there? فَاقْتَصَّ الْمَظَالِمُ. What was it words we done? So you can make your decision here. You can do what you want to. You can say what you want to. But remember, soon we will stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ultimate justice will be dispensed. I'm just looking for the hadith. Was it? Find it just, oh, you don't have your books there. That at the full sirat, the mazalim will, yeah, yes, it. فيقتص لبعضهم من بعض المظالم. So the same thing here. فاقضي ما أنت قاض إنما تقضي هذه الحياة إنما تقضي حياة. You can make your decision, whatever decision you want to make, but remember, a time will come فيقتص لبعضهم من بعض المظالم. A time will come, and we said this is on Qiyamah Day, and in particular according to this riwayat, when you come to the Sirat, فيقتص لبعضهم من بعض المظالم. All oppression will be what's a nice word? I said it will be settled, you can say, on that day, right? Okay, read that. Read it. Okay, time is up for it. Okay, let's stop here. Manazim will come any minute. So remember, we're back to the old Tarkib, to the old Manazim now. Mishkat 2, and then Hidayah, then Mishkat 3, then Mishkat 1, inshallah. First, Subhanallah.